Go ahead and take a minute to read the problem, hit pause, read the problem, and then go ahead and hit play. So what we're trying to do is the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out the unit rate. So we have 12 piles, which is my numerator, for every 4 hours. So you're going to divide your numerator and your denominator by your denominator. So 4 divided by 4 is 1 hour, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3 piles. So my unit rate is 3 piles per hour. So whenever I come here, I'm going to put piles on the top and hour on the bottom. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to divide this into 4 sections because we have 4 hours. So it's going to be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So for every 1 hour, we need to divide this into thirds because there's 1, 2, 3 piles. Then we're going to take this next section and we're going to divide it into thirds, and we're going to have 4, 5, 6 piles. Then we're going to have 7, 8, 9 piles. Then we're going to have, again, divide it into thirds and have 10, 11, and 12 piles. Go ahead and hit pause and answer the questions below. When you're done, hit play. So how many piles can Jake rake in 3 hours? So if we look at this, we're going to look here at 3 hours. So in 3 hours, he can rake 9 piles. So now we're going to look, and it's actually the 1/3 goes here. So we're looking at how many piles can Jake rake in 2 1/3 hours. So I'm going to go to 2, and then I'm going to look here at 2 1/3. So this is a third. So 2 1/3 is going to be 7 piles. So that should be an I. How long would it take Jake to rake 8 piles of leaves? So now I'm going to look, and I'm going to change colors here so we can look at it. So whenever I look here at 8 piles, I'm looking here at 8 piles. But now that is 2 2/3. You have 2 groups of 1/3. So it's 2 2/3 hours. How long would it take Jake to rake 3 piles of leaves? 3 piles of leaves is going to be 1 hour. How long will it take him to rake 9 piles of leaves? That's going to be 3 hours. And how long will it take Jake to rake 1 pile of leaves? That is 1/3 of an hour because you have 1 out of the 3 pieces. In order to solve this problem, we're going to have to know that there are 4 quarts per gallon. I would go ahead, read the problem, create your tape diagram. You're going to hit pause. Once you're done with your tape diagram, hit play, check the tape diagram. Then you're going to go ahead and answer the questions once you know your tape diagram's correct. You'll hit play again, and then you can check your answers. So we're going to go ahead and label the top as quarts and the bottom as gallons. You're going to have to divide this into 5 sections. I'm going to make a section on the end. So it's going to be 1 gallon, 2 gallons, 3 gallons, 4 gallons, and 5 gallons, okay? Because we want to know how many quarts there are in each one of these. If there are 4 quarts per 1 gallon, then we're going to divide this into fourths. So you're going to have 1 quart, 2, 3, 4 quarts makes 1 gallon. Again, you're going to divide it into fourths. That's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to have divided into fourths, and you're going to have 9, 10, 11, 12. Divided into fourths, you're going to have 13, 14, 15, 16. Then you're going to divide it again, and you're going to have 17, 18, 19, and 20. Go ahead and hit pause now that you know that this is correct and answer the questions. All right, how many quarts are there in 5.5 gallons? Well, we're going to look, it's 4.5 gallons. So if you look at 4.5 gallons, a half gallon is right here, so there's going to be 18 quarts. How many quarts are there in 1 3/4? So we're going to go to 1 whole plus 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So it's going to be 7 quarts. How many gallons are there in 6 quarts? So now we're going to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarts. And that's 1 2/4, which equals 1.5 gallons. Now we're going to look at how many there are in 19 quarts. So we have all of 4 plus 3/4. So it's going to be 4 3/4 of a gallon. So in order to solve this, again, you need to know the unit rate. And there are 3 feet per yard. So you're going to go ahead, read the directions, create your tape diagram. You're going to hit pause so you can do that. And whenever you're done, hit play and check your tape diagram. So it says label the top as feet and label the bottom as yards. So I need to divide this into 4 sections because I want to know how many feet there are in 4 yards. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 yards. If there are 3 feet per yard, I'm going to divide this into thirds. So I have 3 feet in 1 yard, 6 feet in 2 yards, 9 feet in 3 yards, and 12 feet in 4 yards. So once you have this all fixed, if you made any mistakes, you're going to go ahead and hit pause and answer the questions. So how many feet are there in 3 plus 2/3? So that's 1/3 plus 2/3. It's going to be 11 feet. How many yards are in 8 feet? So I'm going to go to my top and I'm going to look at 8 feet. So I'm going to count. It's 2 holes plus 1/3, 2/3. So it's 2 2/3 yards. How many yards are there in 2 feet? So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to look at 2 feet. So there are 2/3, 1/3 plus 1/3. So you get 2/3 yards. Then I'm going to look at 4 feet. How many are there in 4 1/3? So I have to draw another block. So here's my third. So 4 1/3 is going to be 13 feet. They're asking you to make a prediction. Go ahead and complete the ticket out the door, hit pause, and when you're done, check it by hitting play. It says, how many quarts are there? Whoops. How many quarts are there in 5 pints? So I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many quarts are there? There's 2 whole quarts plus a half. So it's 2.5 quarts. You can also solve this same problem using a proportion. You're going to set up your unit rate. There are 2 pints in 1 quart. 2 pints in 1 quart. So then there's a typo here. This should be quarts, not gallons. So now I want to know how many quarts are in 5 pints. So I don't know the quart, so that's going to be my X, and I have 5 pints. So to solve this, you're going to go ahead and solve it proportionally. You multiply across and divide by what's left. 1 times 5 is 5. You're going to take 5 and divide it by 2. And 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So it's going to be 2.5 quarts. Which one do you prefer and why? You can go ahead and answer that question using complete sentences.